Monster Hunter Wilds has been out for about a week and some change at the time of writing the script, and I just recently 100%ed the game on Steam. So I wanted to take some time to talk about my feelings on the game now that I've experienced everything that the base game has to offer. I'm not exactly an old head when it comes to Monster Hunter, but I'm not a new gen either. I've logged a total of nearly 1,000 hours across GU, World, Rise, and now Wilds respectively. I played a ton of different weapons across the series, but the one that I will always come back to will forever be the switch axe, so that will be the weapon bias for the entirety of this video. I'm going to talk about things that I've enjoyed, disliked, and things that I think need improvements on in Wilds. I think that Wilds has the potential to be one of the best games Capcom has ever released, especially in the midst of a very terrible gaming market right now. But before we get started, be sure to leave a like on this video if you want to see more types of long form content like this, and think about subscribing at the end of the video if you enjoyed. Without further ado, let's get into this. Before we address the massive gamut in the room, I do want to highlight the good about Wilds first. I genuinely think that Wilds has the second best gameplay feel out of the entire franchise. While things have been slowed down compared to Rise's fast-paced arcadey style, Wilds doesn't drag things to a sluggish trek like World did. There isn't an insane change to the movement style between these games other than the wire bugs being gone, but the combat definitely feels about 40% faster compared to World, which I really enjoy. The maps are nearly 3 times as big as any of the previous games, however, it's all trivialized by the Seikret. And don't worry, I will get to the Seikret. The character designs are amazing, the writing is nice for a Monster Hunter story, and the music is okay at best. I'll have to see how title updates go about making Wilds versions of some of my favorite monsters, but there wasn't really anything that wowed me when it came to some of the tracks. I honestly don't think that we can peak beyond Geismagorm or Malzeno, but that's just my opinion. Please don't tear me apart in the comments, World fanboys. I really enjoyed the story, and Alma is probably the best partner character I've had in any of the games I've played. She's inoffensive, playing a semi-important role in the story while not doing anything outlandish like getting herself in trouble. She's supportive, she's informative, she's a baddie. She's literally the perfect sidekick character in a video game, and every partner character needs to be designed and written like her, except without the aimless wandering off from time to time. But I can excuse it for baby girl here. Gemma looks stunning, and Olivia looks so freaking gorgeous it actually hurts. But if I continue to go on and on about how much I enjoy the character designs in this game, we'd be here forever. The gameplay itself is fantastic. While I do miss the freak ton of iframes that Rise gave to every weapon, I really like that this isn't the case in Wilds. Counters actually feel rewarding to hit since they're not tied to 5-second invincibility animations. Getting an offset with the switch axe just has you running full force at the monster with the choice to either slice or bonk, and it's so freaking peak. The weapons feel extremely good to use in this game, with most of them having low to mid skill ceilings at best. From what I've seen my friends play to stuff I've seen online, it seems like all of the weapons in this game have gotten some form of love when it comes to Wilds, which is very nice to hear. I personally have been eyeing Insect Glaive for the longest simply because I love DP moves in fighting games, and seeing this rising Spiral Slash has me so hyped to get an Insect Glaive build going soon. The barrier of entry for these weapons are very small, which is great because the game literally wants you to learn 2 weapons, so this all works out. I love the way how investigations are seamless now. Quests are easy to join, and you can choose what pop-up camp you want to start from too. Cooking on the go and just the whole cooking system in general is nice. Another thing that I really like is the weather mechanic. I enjoyed how certain small monsters in endemic life would spawn a lot more within the Season of Plenty, whereas areas would be more empty within Follow. I also love how the story found a way to introduce you to each region's inclement weather and respective apex monster as well. My favorite one being New Udra, with the fire spring being all flared up and out of whack. And speaking of monsters, I really love the new monster designs in this game. While the roster isn't my favorite in the series, the selection here is still pretty reputable. There's absolutely no way that Capcom designed 2 new cephalopod monsters, a type that the series has never seen before to my knowledge, and both fights with them are absolutely peak. Lala Barina might take Nursey's title for the best spider girly, and the apex monsters are all beautiful as well, except you, Jindahad, nobody likes you. There are a couple of stinkers in this roster, and it's surprisingly not the one that actually throws shit at you. However, I do think that the monkey spam that this game has is a bit overdone. Ajarakarn is an amazing fight, and I definitely enjoy him over Mr. Wukong back in any other game, but I do think that Blaganga could have stayed home, even if it has been a while since he's seen the light of day. He just serves to be a frenzied vessel with nothing really different from the Kongalala fight. Two other monsters that I also thought were flawed designs were Hirabami and weirdly enough the Shagama. In the early game, these fights are hell on earth without good gear, and even with dung and flash pods, these fights just turn into either wound fest or you being able to hit the monster half the time. Maybe it's just a switch axe thing on my end, but Deshagma literally got a story relevant variant that was supposed to make the fight harder, but is still trivialized by the entire wound mechanic. It is what it is though. I suppose the last thing that I like about Wilds is how simple it is to get builds online now. Talismans aren't RNG sluts, you don't have to manipulate tables for good rolls, and the gem selection is super simplified compared to the Nintendo titles. There have been a lot of good quality of life changes this game implements that really freshens up the experience for me, which I appreciate a lot. But that's enough positivity for now. Let's talk about the bad in Monster Hunter Wilds. Okay, I'm going to talk about things that I dislike about Wilds that exclude the performance issues. I know you guys are waiting for my thoughts on the matter, but there are some actual gripes that I have with this game that the performance issues have nothing to do with, so please be patient with me. First off, this game might have the worst party/lobby systems that I've ever seen. I don't know how Capcom can go from a flawless party system like Rise to whatever the hell this shit is in Wilds. I'm okay with the guild cards being replaced with hunter profiles since they're essentially the same thing, but why the flark does it have to be so confusing to add somebody in this game? Yes, I know if you're already playing with someone, you can check the quest or link party list, but this game doesn't give you the option to copy your hunter ID to the clipboard at all. Not only that, but the hunter ID search is at the very end of this 11 tab menu. Oh, but why not just add your friends through the Steam tab on the members list? That's because it literally doesn't do anything. I thought this tab was going to show me my friends that have this game downloaded and their hunter profiles, but it doesn't. It just leads you to your friend's Steam profile, which doesn't make sense because you're already friends with this person. Why would I need a menu that specifically leads me to their Steam profile if I already know that we are friends? This is just another tab taking up space in this already confusing and bloated menu. Going back to copying IDs, you can't even do that with the lobby ID in this game, which is confusing because you used to be able to do this in both Rise and World with no problem. It took me a while before I even realized that I had to go to Alma to change the lobby to begin with, and even then, you can't see the lobby information from her. You have to go to the members list in order to see it. Need I remind you, you didn't need to do this in Rise. You just needed to go to the Courier Cat, make a lobby, and copy the ID there. Now, I understand that this is probably due to crossplay being a thing. I'm not trying to be a platform elitist at all, and I'm very well capable of typing in hunter and lobby IDs myself. It just sucks that a quality of life change made for PC ports in mind isn't in the PC version of Wilds here. Also, I'm just gonna say this hot take here as well. I don't think that there's any inherent benefit to the lobbies being full of over 16 plus people in Monster Hunter. This is the one point that I'm willing to be convinced on and will happily discuss with you in the comments. This series has been a 4-player game since the 3DS era. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that that's the case. Most multiplayer co-op online games pride themselves off of being that as well, 4-player squad games. I have a Monster Hunter friend group that consisted of about 10 or so friends, but there's rarely a time when all 11 of us are on to make use of this feature. Nowadays, it's difficult to get 2 people down to play something, let alone 10. I understand that this was designed to massively appeal to bigger friend groups, but you can't even bring more than 4 people to a hunt if you wanted to. Also, most friend groups barely hit within the double digits anyway, so it's not like people have the numbers to make use of this feature consistently or to the extent that Capcom anticipated. Sure, you can make the argument that people can hop in and out of hunts based on whatever they need, and that's definitely a good thing when you have more than 4 people. I certainly made use of the bigger lobbies to crown hunt specifically, but personally, other than that, I've never found a reason to be in a lobby of more than 4 since I'm usually going to be playing with a group of 3 when I get on. Now, this isn't to say that 16 to 100 player lobbies are necessarily a bad thing. The issue that I have is that they sacrificed a well-structured lobby system in the previous games for massive cross-play player lobbies instead. Call me a Debbie Downer if you want, I just don't think that a lobby system as good as Rise's should have had to die for the sake of making Monster Hunter seem like it's some big MMO. Environment link is also another thing that I have an issue with, but I don't really dislike as much as the other things. You'd think that if you're in the same lobby as someone within this game, you'd be able to teleport to the map that they're on and be able to see and hunt investigations as they're happening live, right? Sadly, this isn't the case. I understand why this is, because it would be a massive mess to code and network issues will probably ruin lobbies, especially in crossplay. But I just find find it funny that you have to invite your friend to a completely separate instance of a map they're on instead of being able to join them seamlessly. But enough about the lobby system. I have one last grievance with this game that I have to talk about. This freaking bird. I'm just gonna say it outright, and you can call me a rise baby all you want, I do not care. I hate this bird, and it could never replicate the utility that a Palamute has. First off, this thing is shockingly slow even at max speed. This weak ass drift it has isn't anything compared to the Palamutes. Also, why is the drift button tied to the stop button? Actually, no, wait. The drift button is usually on right shoulder buttons in most racing games, so why is there a stop button in the first place? You're supposed to be stopped once you stop moving your joystick, right? Oh, that's right, it's because the Seikret has auto explore on by default. There have been countless times where I'm trying to grab some endemic life or just scout a monster and my Seikret just wanders off like it has a mind of its own. Well, it does, but that's not the point. It's such a tedious feature that I heavily dislike because it makes me think that I have controller drift. And seeing as I play on a pro controller, it's not that hard for it to become a reality. So having this feature be on by default is a real middle finger to me and to anyone else who plays on Switch controller, in my opinion, of course. I do like this little glide that the Seikret has, but there's no way to gain speed off of it at all. It would be cool if you could dive down from the highest point of a map, gradually gain speed, jump off the bird, and slam into the monster with full force. But no, you just have to sit around in the air, politely descending like a sitting duck, or in this case, a gliding Seikret. Its auto move feature sucks as well. Maybe I'm reaching a little bit with this one. This does come in handy a lot of times, and I do enjoy this. But there are times where the Seikret does not know what to do and will repeatedly go back and forth between specific points if there are multiple ways to get to a monster. This is usually common on the oil well bison, and it's pretty annoying at times. Not to mention, this thing has done me more harm than good when it comes to battle. The Seikret is this game's answer to the wire bugs when it comes to recovering from attacks. If you press up on the D-pad when you get knocked back by the monster, your Seikret will run towards you and pick you up, allowing you to get back into the fight quicker. This was a feature that is designed to be used to get yourself out of danger and recover quickly. But why is it that the bird is either in Timbuktu when I call it, or it just sends me on a one-way ticket to the cart zone by tossing me into a monster's attack? Look, I'm okay with the bird taking some time to get to me. In this game, monsters aren't nearly as spammy with their attacks compared to Sunbreak, but the bird shouldn't be 300 freaking meters directly across from me in nearly every fight I'm in. Both of these issues that I have with the bird usually coincide with each other. Most of my carts in high rank tempered hunts are because my bird takes forever to get to me, and by the time it does, my iframes from the fall are gone and the monster's next attack hits me while I'm on the bird because it's running towards the monster instead of away from it. I'm literally using the intended mechanic the game wants me to use, and I'm being actively punished for doing so. Granted, I'm at the point now where this virtually isn't a problem for me anymore, since I could take on pretty much any monster in the game by this point. But playing through early high rank was so annoying simply because of the combo that this bird would put me in. This is not good game design, and the part that frustrates me the most is that these things are so freaking adorable, yet they inconvenience me at nearly every given point within hunts. Not to mention, they do flark all in battle as well. Listen, I'm not asking for a direct copy of the Palamute, but the least that these bird for brains can do is hit me when I'm stunned in multiplayer hunts. These things have a mind of their own, right? So why not program them to have buddy skills and let them learn how to rescue their hunter? All in all, the Seikret is just a watered down version of the Palamute that often inconveniences you a lot, and I really hope that Capcom does a couple of updates to their AI in the future. It's still a very welcome feature, but there's so much that can be improved upon it. As for the achievements, the true endgame isn't out yet, so most of these were extremely easy to get. The last couple of them were not difficult at all, they were just very time consuming. However, I will say that the Explorer of the Eastlands achievement was the most annoying to get, simply because it drained me dry of nearly all of my points for my playthrough. Aficionado was another time consuming one, but I absolutely hate the fish AI in this game compared to others. The Whopper minigame was fun the first couple of times, but I think I broke my control stick from all the vigorous flicking I did to reel in 30 of those bad boys. I can't complain though, as I am bound to the fisherman's life no matter what game I play. Shout out to my husband. Now, we have to talk about this game's most glaring issue. This is a $70 video game. This is a $70 video game that I willingly paid full price for. I literally upgraded my graphics card from a 2060 to a 4060 specifically to play this game. And after 100 plus hours of playing this game at the absolute lowest settings, I could safely say that the optimization is bad. That's pretty much it. I originally downloaded this game on one of my hard drives, and for the record, I usually play games on my hard drive since my boot SSD is nearly full. I've been meaning to get another SSD, but it's been hard trying to save up money for luxury items lately. This is the only game that had issues loading up stuff because it was on an HDD instead of an SSD. I have hundreds of hours in games like GTA 5 and Warframe. Those games are pretty graphically demanding, yet both have no issues running on my hard drives. So I find it weird that Wilds does. The game gives you a message at the start telling you to swap your game to an SSD for better performance anyways. So I had a friend help me scrape out 60 gigs from my C drive in order to get the game on there. After switching from hard to solid, I can say that all of my initial problems I had are virtually gone. Textures don't take forever to load, models don't look like they came from the PS1 days, and I'm getting a consistent 60 FPS with medium and even high settings. But just because I switched and everything is miles better doesn't mean that this game is suddenly null and void from any criticism. Just because my game runs fine now doesn't mean that my playthrough of the past doesn't matter anymore. There are people out there with weaker PCs than me, and even people with the stronger PCs have had worse experiences than I've had. And as someone who's played a lot of unfinished live service games, I'm sick and tired of these companies pushing for release dates instead of making sure their products are finished first. I'm so exhausted from waiting for my favorite games to have their most game-breaking bugs fixed, ultimately ending up in them EOSing because they're a free-to-play game that can't keep the lights on with all the monetization issues. So I would expect a $70 video game to be at least complete and fully running with minimal bug issues at launch. I don't care if video games are the cheapest they've ever been. $70 is about a week's worth of food right now if you're lucky. And I'm not gonna continue to buy games if this is what companies are releasing. I don't care what company it is. I've played these games before multiple times across multiple companies, and I've been a fool each time by continuing to purchase them. I just think that it's insane how Capcom can go from releasing a well put together and graphically stunning game like Street Fighter 6 and drop Wilds a few years later. It's actually so insane to me. I will give Capcom some credit though. They have been issuing out bug fixes with minor updates, so that's definitely a good sign. Here's to hoping that they actually continue to work on making the game run better. I really love Monster Hunter, and Wilds is probably the most popular that the series has been since its inception, and I really hope that they continue to make this game more accessible for people, because this $70 price tag with this optimization is absolutely unacceptable by modern gaming standards, and they need to do better. And that's it for this video. Sorry to all the people coming here for my gacha game content. I got a little sidetracked and wanted to speak about my thoughts on Wilds for a bit here. I'll definitely be working on the next ZCZ video in the coming week, so do continue to keep your eyes peeled for that. I've been asking you guys to keep your eyes peeled for weeks. Please remember to blink. But yeah, thank you guys so much for making it to the end of this video. If you guys enjoyed, please make sure to leave a like and comment below letting me know your thoughts on Wilds. Subscribe if you want to see more long form content like this, and if you want to support me even more, consider donating to my Ko-fi or becoming a member on my YouTube channel today. Members get shouted out at the end of my videos, and Ko-fi supporters get a special role within my Discord, which you should totally join, by the way. Links to everything will be in the description. But other than that, I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye. You mind? Dude, I'm trying to record an outro here. Do you mind? Can you back up? Can you leave? Buddy, I'm trying to get B-roll footage here, man.